Prince Harry may have capitulated, relented, given in, whatever you want to call it, but according to a very well-placed source, his wife, the former cable TV actress Meghan Markle, is doing no such thing. And this is all regarding His Majesty the King, King Charles III. As ever, let me explain. Morning, nice to see you, chums. Thank you so much for your time. It's a funny thing, isn't it? You know, when people demand things, you know what sort of thing I mean? We've all had that in a workplace where you've either had to apologise for something that's nothing to do with you at all, but seriously, you end up having to do that sort of thing. And when you think about it, you know, and this is the thing where I feel sorry for His Majesty the King, he literally did everything in order to make, alongside Queen Elizabeth, in order to make both Harry and her welcome inside a constitution that, of course, Queen Elizabeth must have found, and she realises, daunting for her. Clearly not as daunting as what she had planned, because seriously, behind the scenes, clearly she was just doing all sorts of things to make sure that this was going to be a short tenure, unless, of course, Her Majesty the Queen bowed down, gave in, and basically said, let me organise trooping of the colour. You get the picture. But now this has developed, let me explain. To see you as ever. And by the way, I just met this guy on the tube, right? Very debonair guy, all that sort of stuff. And he was just chatting away, and he'd come back from the concert of Oasis in Cardiff. And I wanted to ask you this actually, because he was 38, didn't look it, right? But he was 38, and basically said he was a huge fan. And I was sort of working it out that he would be 8 years old when Oasis were at their peak. But he told me that there were lots and lots of teenagers at this concert. And I wanted to know, do you listen to modern music today, or is it just retro and the ones that you know? I'm honest, I listen to everything, but I do like the classics, whether it be somebody like, you know, Gilbert O'Sullivan, Neil Sedaka, the Spice Girls. It has to have a beat. I like a story and I like a good song, don't you? But what do you listen to in this modern age? It'd be fascinating to know, because as I said, well, they wouldn't know the music, and apparently they've been shall we say, discovered on things like TikTok and social media. Yes, it could happen to us, you know. We might get, don't they listen? We'll have to be ready for it. Yes, you'll have to take the curlers out. I know, I'll give you a bit of warning, don't worry. On a more serious note, let's get back to your royal story of the day. Now this really caused a big headline, right? This was because, according to a source, I find this very, shall we say, depressing to say the least, but obviously, monarchs' funerals have to be planned well in advance. That's why the operation for the late Queen Elizabeth, was a spectacle, wasn't it? But it must be strange to know that that goes on and you're not there, because every sort of facet is gone through with you. You know what I mean? I know we all plan ours, but not to that level, right? Now, here's where this gets interesting, because according to the headline, Harry and Meghan would be the epicentre of the King's funeral arrangements. Well, I can tell you from speaking to excellent sources, that wouldn't be the case. Now, Harry, of course, it's tricky for him, obviously, because while his wife couldn't be bothered to come for the King's coronation, I don't think she's going to let the matter of a funeral bother her either. But here's the thing. You see, while Harry basically has, openly said he'd like a reconciliation via a BBC interview, and openly said also that his father doesn't take his calls, I can tell you 100% Meghan has no intention of, giving in. You see, she's laid out her rules already, and according to that very well-placed ex-staff member source, Meghan's done with the United Kingdom. And the only thing that now could change her mind about the future and what she sees happening and what's doing and all that sort of stuff, it goes back to what they asked before. She believes that she's owed a public apology 100%, and preferably from His Majesty the King and indeed the Prince and Princess of Wales, about how badly she was treated during her time in the royal family. Now, as we know, she was at the Queen's funeral really by default because she was in the country. One wonders if she bothered doing that when you think about it, because clearly, she was kind of trapped and had to do it. As I said, she couldn't be bothered to return back here for His Majesty's coronation, which was a huge historical event, one missed out, of course, by Harry's children. So what makes people think that she's going to give in for this? All I can tell you is, from an excellent source, Meghan, no apology, no Meghan. Now, some people might say that's worth putting bunting up for. But either way, what it does tell you is this, that the fractious marriage between Meghan and Harry means that all of these big things, despite his mental health fragility and all of that, well, once again, he's going to have to face it all alone. So how secure is that marriage when you break it down? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.